peace science, science of peace. No one understood peace until you watch this video. Existing sciences. Formal science. Pure math, science of nature, is a quantitative description of nature. Natural science, example is physics. Science of interactions of nature. It's a quantitative description of interactions of nature. Social science. For example, political science, international relations, and economics. It's a science of interactions of humans. However, currently, it is a qualitative description of interactions of humans. Applied science. Now, what is peace? To understand what is peace, there are 4 steps, major steps, have to go through to understand what is peace. First one, scientific requirements for peace. It specifies what are requirements for something to be peace. Second, it's objective definition. It's a definition objectively capture the scientific requirements for what is peace. Then you want to translate those requirements into scientific model in the scientific language of modeling. Basically, you want to map those requirements to models. Lastly, you have to have scientific standard for testing and validating a model of peace to see what is peace and what is not peace based on whether it meets requirements for peace or not. Now, the first task, what are the scientific requirements for peace? There's 3 requirements here, major requirements. The most important one is the purpose of peace. What's the purpose of peace? Anyone to have answer for that? Well, the purpose of peace is whatever the peace is, it has to be equal and fair for everyone and all beliefs. That is, peace has to be described or defined equally and fairly for everyone and all beliefs. Now, second requirement, scientific scope has to be objective scope. That means you include everything possible from human interactions that is in scope for peace. Third, scientific method. It is a quantitative description of peace. Like any other science, the requirement for any scientific method is qualitative description. Lastly, scientific standard for peace. It's a standard to determine what is peace and what is not peace. The requirements. Now, we take a look at Western definitions of peace. Here are 2 examples, one from Google, one from Wikipedia. These definitions are subjective. You can't tell what's the purpose for peace, whether it's for everyone or just for one belief. you cannot see what is the scope for peace. And also, more importantly, you cannot see what is objective method or quantitative description of peace specified required anywhere here. And clearly there is no standard mentioned for how to adjust how to determine what is peace and what is not peace. Now, second step, objective definition. So we present here objective definition for peace. It's a quantitative description of peace that is equal and fair for everyone and all beliefs of peace, tested and validated by scientific standard for peace. So the method is clearly required here for quantitative description. And the purpose is clear, equal and fair for everyone and all beliefs. And scientific standard for peace is required. Now, what's the difference between objectivity and subjectivity? Subjective peace, such as subjective definition of peace given by two examples earlier, it is a subjective belief of what is peace. Now, for objective peace, it is a belief of what are the requirements and standards to meet for something to be peace. So it doesn't specify or describe what is peace subjectively. So you see the difference. Anything that meet requirements and standard for peace is peace. For model of purpose of peace, we have a model of coexistence of all beliefs for capturing requirement of all beliefs. Also have a model of neutrality to capture requirement for equality and fairness. Combine those two, we have a model of equality, fairness for all beliefs. That is a model of a neutral coexistence of all beliefs for the purpose of peace. It's very clear. Now, third step, scientific definition of peace. That is peace for all beliefs. First, define what is peace for all beliefs. It's multipolar peace equals a politically neutral coexistence of political beliefs of peace. Second, we also define what is peace for one belief. Basically, it's the opposite of peace. Defined as unipolar peace, which is really unipolar politics. Politics is opposite to peace, equals a political coexistence of political beliefs of peace. Third, we have mathematical formula called peace rule. It quantify peace by calculating relationship of political beliefs of peace to determine the characteristic of that relationship, whether it's peace for all beliefs, multipolar peace, or peace for one belief, unipolar peace or unipolar politics. Now, we look at the model outputs for any model of peace or any potential candidate for peace to determine the characteristic of peace. First, we have scientific standard of political independence for peace. That is provided by peace rule to characterize any model of peace by two things. First, peace, multipolar peace for all beliefs, or unipolar peace for one belief. And that is further characterized by risk tolerance. So that's why we have 4 different buckets from scientific standard. Each one has different characteristics of peace. First one, maximum multipolar peace that has 0 risk tolerance of no peace. Second, multipolar peace that has non-zero risk tolerance of no peace. Third, unipolar peace that is really unipolar politics that has non-zero risk tolerance of peace. Last one, number 4 bucket, maximum unipolar peace. It's 0 risk tolerance of peace. So basically that's maximum unipolar politics for no peace. Now, once we have 4 buckets divided by scientific standard, apply that to any given model of peace, we analyze the output of peace model or model of peace to see which bucket is right one to capture the output, right? So 4 of them, maximum multipolar peace with 100% confidence, multipolar peace with less than 100% confidence, and unipolar peace with less than 100% confidence. And last one, maximum unipolar peace with 100% confidence. Summary. We present objective definition of peace basically to specify all the requirements and standard for anything to be peace. Second, we present scientific standard for peace, that is scientific standard of political independence for peace, that is equal and fair for everyone and all beliefs. Third, for the first time, peace for all beliefs is presented quantitatively. No existing peace meets requirements and standard for peace for all beliefs, that is multipolar peace. Lastly, we claim peace or multipolar peace, equal and fair for everyone and all belief, is fundamental human right and freedom of speech for everyone and all beliefs. Thank you.